Oh, Chris, man, we're on video live, bro. This is great, man. Best part of the day. What's up, dude?
Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you, Adam. Yeah, we're back. Live stream is fully functional today, as far as I can tell. We're ready to run. Jake's out in Asia, so we got me and Adam filling in for a pretty fun show today. What's going on, man? How are you?
If you guys are hearing us okay, throw us a thumbs up. Cordy, if you want to jump on stage, I'd love to chat with you about what's happening on Rootstock and Flow and that sort of thing. I saw you making some tweets about it maybe yesterday or the day before yesterday. I guess we could start there because that was kind of interesting thing. I don't know if you all saw it, but CryptoKitties, did you check that out, Chris? CryptoKitties launched their first project in I don't know what, since 2017. Did that cross your timeline, man?
I saw it for a second.
Yes. I heard the last thing you said. You said 2017. What was the last thing you said?
Oh, no, hey, how's it going, man? Yeah, it was just CryptoKitties has popped on the timeline, right? They did that drop, and I saw you making some posts about Rootstock and Flow.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get into that before we get into the CryptoKitties thing, since we have you up on stage, man.
For sure.
Give us because I mean, most people don't track what's happening with Flow, which I think is a complete mistake, bro. Because it's like,
man,
these guys are literally the legends who kicked off basically 2 bull runs, and so it's a fool's errand to fade these dudes. But can you give us an update on what's kind of happening over there?
Yeah. So next week, Flow's EVM comes out.
Okay.
So that's interesting. So now it's going to allow us to build things with EVM that also work on Flow. And I'm hearing things like gasless transactions. So I'm like, okay, how is that going to work? Gasless with EVM? Interesting.
How does that work from a technical?
What I'm saying? I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I want to see how it turns out next week, man, because gasless EVM is next level. And now if you combine that with Bitcoin, man.
Gotcha. So, I mean, I remember that I was probably on a chat with them. We actually had a call with the Flow guys, just kind of opening up discussions on bringing Emblem over there. And part of the discussion was, okay, when's the EVM going to be live? When can teams kind of port over stuff? Do you see any building happening yet, or this is kind of like just the first stage? They're going to release the EVM, and then teams can now kind of build on it. What do you see happening?
For me right now, it's the because they already did some testing like yesterday. So it's gonna be interesting because they've been preparing for this for a while now. So I assume that they have people ready to build right away.
Sure.
As it opens up.
Yeah. Well, you would think. I mean, and this will kind of get into the. Actually, well, we had the Rootstock guys on like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it feels like Rootstock's kind of hit this, nobody really uses it as far as like friends of mine or on the timeline. You just don't see anything happening on Rootstock. But if they can, and I know they are working with Flow, so it'd be interesting, if they can kind of bridge that gap, make Bitcoin available on Flow or do something like that. Would be an interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because the thing about Rootstock, it's cool. I love the idea, but the problem are the fees too, right? That also become a problem. So if we can get Bitcoin to work with something like Flow and then get gasless, that's going to be beneficial for easy user onboarding. Because that's what I like about Flow. It's easy to use. There's no gas. And I'm like, right, like that was the only problem. It's very centralized applications that didn't leave people enough power to do things. So now I think things are different now. They care more about DAOs. They care more about. So now we're seeing EVM compatibility coming now. So I hope to see more EVM tech come to Flow because that's one of the missing elements, right? Because EVM is not going away and Bitcoin is not going away. I feel like Bitcoin and EVM is probably going to be what helps Flow come back to life.
Very interesting. And so if anybody, I mean, just kind of a little small history lesson, Flow, the guys who created Flow, Dapper Labs, they created CryptoKitties in 2017. I mean, yes, it was overtaken in 21 with bigger kind of crypto projects, but it's the one, like the first real use case of a blockchain, like completely taking over everything was CryptoKitties. Like CryptoKitties blew up. It's hard to overestimate how big that was for Ethereum, because it brought a whole bunch of development in. As we in the historical NFT space know, there were just an explosion of projects in 2018 as all these developers came in. We're like, holy cow, wait, I can make money doing this and stuff. So there's this giant explosion of building. And then, of course, in 2020 with Top Shot, they were the team behind. So after they did CryptoKitties, they were like, look, Ethereum kind of sucks. Let's build our own blockchain. They built Flow, and then they launched Top Shot in 2020. Obviously, Top Shot really just completely exploded the NFT space. Obviously, it all mainly happened on Ethereum in 2021. But Flow kicked that off and really was responsible. Tons of people, a lot of people I know made a boatload of money trading, Top Shot, and brought that money onto Ethereum, right? I mean, am I wrong or what?
I remember, man. So I was one of the early Top Shot guys. I got in around 2020. And I remember around December, I think it started getting, like December 2020 was when things started getting interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And January was wild.
Bro.
Like, I saw...
Wait, did you you got to tell us, did you round trip it or did you?
I round trip, man. I fucked up.
Of course. Yeah.
Because it was such an obvious event. I'm like, NBA, first big brand. I'm gonna hold on to this for a little bit. It hurts when you think about things like that. I should have done better, but it's still early. That's the thing about this space. It's still very early. We're not there. We're not done yet. Yeah. But man, those guys, Top Shot was the first app that people were actually interested in. Like, I had friends hop on, they didn't know what blockchain was. I was like, wow, this is good.
Totally. I mean, that they're like one of these guys where I point out, like, when it's like what crypto needs are really killer apps. I mean, they've had two, which is like, it's so rare. Like nobody has two. And obviously it's the same niche. It's NFTs, but yeah, those guys are the kings. I mean, it's hard to overstate how visionary they are. Only thing I could say is like Larva Labs, obviously visionary as well, but these guys are a whole nother level because it's building like apps you actually use. And so anyway, whatever, 2 days ago or a day ago, they launched these eggs, which were like, from the CryptoKitties either account or whatever. So CryptoKitties basically launched these eggs, which went crazy. I mean, they were basically free. I don't know, $15 or something like that, maybe $20. And it took over the timeline a little bit. I mean, I don't know, it ran up to half an ETH or something. So it got people excited. It's almost like a minor thing, half an ETH. People, those of us who remember 21 is like half an ETH. What is that?
Yeah, that's a gas fee right there.
That's a gas fee, bro. What is that? That's nothing. But it got people excited for NFTs again. I don't know, Chris, did you see it cross your timeline, bro?
Yeah, man, I saw it coming. We talk about Flow a lot. It's just really interesting, their approach and how, they have these huge wins, but then they're still in the background a lot of the time. Yeah. Another interesting point is that, their inflation happened to be the biggest downfall of both of their products, right? CryptoKitties, their inflation was out of control. And then once again, Top Shop, their biggest problem was inflating the supply. So good for them as distributors, but kind of rough for the consumer end. So always good to keep a tab on them for sure.
It's really interesting. And that's like 1,000% correct. You almost think they would have learned their lesson with Top Shot, but I think, as a core business, it's really hard not to continue taking that money, right? Especially when, look, it's the NBA. NBA wants to make money. You want to make money. I mean, I don't know how much they made, but it was probably a couple $100 million during that run. And it was like, I don't, we all think, oh, I'd do the right thing. And it's like, you probably wouldn't, you probably wouldn't, we all have like, oh, why are they so greedy? It's like, you try not to be greedy when the getting's good, right? I mean, it's really
exactly, definitely one of those cases where they can play ignorant as long as they possibly can. Like, oh, we had no idea that inflating the supply an extra 100x was, a bad thing. We thought the consumers loved it. Look at the Trump NFTs; it's the same thing. They run the same playbook. Should we just issue more of supply? And they just run it back and run it back. So Not a
Well,
bad take.
at least Trump has the dinners you can go to.
For 25,000.
For 25K, man, you get a chance to go to the dinner. Yeah, so that's pretty. I wonder what the floor is right now. We should pull that up to see what the floor is right now. Go
How are
ahead.
y'all doing? What's up?
Go ahead, Smokes, man. We're talking a little crypto kitties. I don't know if that you tracked that yesterday or the day before.
Bro, I was fucking having heart attacks with Bell's coin over here. I couldn't even look at anything.
Bro, how can you still have heart attacks, man?
No, you're right. I'm still up. See, I can't, you gotta think the hand that feeds you. You can't a lot of people are actually down, so you just gotta buy the dip. I actually came up with a conclusion today that apparently, let's say you're down a certain USD amount. If you take money out of your bank account and buy with that same amount some more coins, then you get back to what you were before it dipped.
Oh my God, that is some monkey math right there, bro. But bro, why? I mean, if anybody, this is where trading is just so funny, right? Like everybody knows you bought like the pure bottom of Bell's coin, right? You bought at 14 cents. And yet you're freaking out. Like, what's wrong with you, dude? If you're
I'm not
freaking out.
To be honest with you, I'm
freaking out, bro.
out. I'm freaking out on behalf of others, not for myself. Because I know I'm doing good, but I hate how, like, when people FUD, it's like a herd. Like, you can't stop them. That's it. It's like, they're just going to keep going and they're going to fear people out of their bags. And I know it has so much potential and I know it's going to be so big, but I hate how some people might be scared away from their bags now and maybe sell, which I don't care. Like if they sell, right, you could sell and dump it, I'd buy lower, I don't care. But it's like they're gonna miss out on the opportunity to make generational wealth in the future because they sold their bags.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think you can stop that, bro. How do you even like if you can't? I mean, look at anything that's gone really exponential over a period of time. Like you have to be able to ride a 70 to 80% drawdown. You have to be. And
Bitcoin used to be like that. Bitcoin used to dump like 90% on like a good day just because it rained or something.
Dude, any meme coin. Like there's no meme coin that got to multiple billions of dollars and just, I mean, I guess maybe Bohm did, like Book of Meme did over like a 2-day period.
But bro, don't get me started on that. That's so manipulated.
Like that's one, like that just doesn't happen. You look at like Pepe, Pepe had like 90% drawdowns, getting where it got. Like there's just no way. I mean, and I realize most people can't ride that roller coaster. Most people can't handle it. Most people are
for sure. One day you're rich, one day you're broke. But the thing is, I think you're right when it comes to that. You just gotta wait. But like we did make a higher high, so I don't think we're gonna go to a lower like. I think we're gonna make a higher low because I think like this is probably around where it's gonna bottom out. Like I'm sure. I mean,
I love the chart. I love people doing charts on meme coins, bro.
I don't.
What are the tokenomics here? Why is this dropping?
Okay. I don't do charts.
Why? It's gone. If that goes up or go to zero.
I don't do charts or whatever, but I know the way people think. Yep. And I know the way people think is they see chart, oh no, new high. They're not gonna sell to where it's the same level as the last bottom. It's just like kind of psychology almost. But chart wise, I don't know about the Fibonacci and all that stuff.
Fibonacci. The key word in Fibonacci is fib, bro. Fib is the key of
it's
Fibonacci,
FUD.
bro. It fucking lies, dude. All the time.
Fibonacci.
Man, yeah, I think I just lean into it, man. I think, there will be, look, bells could go to zero still. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. I don't think it will, but who knows? Yeah, there's a bug.
Yesterday, me and my friend, right, another Bells Coin member, went on a spree last night. And bro, I'm not gonna state what it is, but we bought a bunch of domains that we're gonna redirect to Bells Coin. Actually, there's one coin that loves to attack Bells. We won't state it, but they accidentally non KYC listed all their X and all that with the same name for everything, but they forgot to buy their domain, and I bought it for $12 yesterday. After the one I showed you, another one This one they were gonna actually use. Like I swear to God.
Domain
And
name
now
sniping, bro. In the meme coin space. I love it, dude.
I bought their domain and I'm gonna redirect it to Bell's Coin. Actually, someone offered me 100 bells to buy it, and I said, "Fuck off."
Bro, it gets vicious, and this is the trenches, Chris, man. This is the trenches.
Yo, while we're on bells, what inscription numbers did they just pass, and what are people still inscribing over there? You guys are going pretty bananas on the inscriptions. I think it was like 100 and something million inscriptions. Is that right?
Smokes,
Yeah, I
you got an
have it,
update,
right?
dude?
I have it. It's like 100. 1 second, give me a I think it's 146 million. Let me check.
What's going on over there? What are they still inscribing like madmen?
Inscribe.
I think it's mainly tokens. Like the tokens, the way they do it is you can only inscribe a very small amount per mint, which makes it like you have to mint a crap ton, which drastically increases inscriptions. I think Nook like destroyed bells at the beginning because I think like half the inscriptions are definitely like Nook.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's for sure. Let's see. So, yeah, I mean, Nook had what 100 million inscriptions, right? So, yeah. Oh shit, it's at 100. It's at 150 million.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I
I mean, it
don't
was
think
at.
that,
I think I tweeted about it 3 or 4 days ago. It had just passed like 145 million or something. So, yeah, it's like a million a day being added. Like, I don't even know. Like, I don't know. Somebody's minting Ondo right now.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing though to set
No,
a
I don't think so.
token
It
with
is.
such a low mint because I think it creates a more fair and even distribution. Like I don't know the distribution of Nook. There's probably like mega whales, but it definitely made it fair because you know it costed you a lot to mint, so you could have just mint 20% of the supply.
Yep. No doubt. So yeah, I mean, you look at if you go to Nintendo.io and you look, click on the Bellinals link, and then you can sort. You know, the tokens are first, but if you click on the image type, you'll see. I don't even know, guys. Inscribing probably a 10K of like ninjas, or people are doing all this stuff. I mean, this is the thing. What you realize if you get in and you actually inscribe now on Bell's, is that it's literally pennies. Like you can do. I was talking to a guy the other day. He did a 10K, inscribed 10K, and it was like less than $1 of total gas fees. Yeah, so it's super crazy low. Like nothing. Like basically free. So,
And a lot of them are airdropping their collections, which I love. I think I like it more than selling just because you do. I mean, you could keep a part of your collection and make money by, because the community, we noticed this with Doge where I started. When you start with like very, very cheap NFTs to almost like zero, right? Like there's many that would go for one Doge, which is like 10 cents. It builds up gradually and it becomes like expensive, like the collection, just because people love it and they're getting in and they make money along the way versus starting off very high, and the creator makes money and then it just fucking tanks, because people are like, oh wait, there's no room for us to make money. And also creates like a trading card type of vibe because I grew up I grew up like not in the US, so like my culture from where I grew up, we used to love trading cards, and I'm assuming you guys did too in the US. So this brings back a lot of memories for me that you could just trade them, and I've been trading some NFTs with people too.
yeah, free and fair is, I think, the way to go. Especially like everybody's burnout from, ordinals was whatever. It's 18, 19 months ago now. You know, people only have so much money to buy stuff, right? And it's like, and you realize at the end of the day, especially on these light chains like Bells and Doge, where it's free to mint or near free. It's like, am I just getting dumped on? Like, am I just the exit liquidity? And the answer is yes. And so it's like, you got to create some sort of like interesting either culture or vibe around it or whatever for these things to have any value. And that's actually really hard to do. I think we're very fortunate to have a couple of really cool like creators in the space. Like if you've seen the memes, the meme guy, like those are awesome. I mean, the dude was literally putting out a meme. He basically did the model of who am I thinking of? Dark Farms, right?
Yeah.
It's like the daily meme. He did a daily meme, inscribed them, whatever, and did that for, I don't know, 100 days or whatever. Sold them for like a couple of bell. But now is like, dude, he's the king, right? Like, but he was willing to work for 100 days to kind of put in the effort to like build that culture. And I think, yeah, go ahead, man.
And they kind of speak for themselves too. Like you have collections like the Nakamoto whatever meme cards, right? Like I had a couple, but like they were trading at 6.9 bells, which at the time when he was selling them, I think 6.9 bells was like $1 or so,
Yep.
right? And at like the current price or bucks, but now they're trading for like 100 bells, so about $100, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, building either a following or the cult around it. Yeah, it's hard to do. So anybody can do that. But starting it free or near free is typically a good strategy to building culture. Kane, what's up, bro? Haven't seen you in a while, man. How's it going, dude? Talking about building some culture.
Oh, man, I'm just over here watching Paw Bears with my baby. I don't like unapproved programming, so I make him watch what I watch because I know the kind of fucked up that I turned out, and I'm okay with that. I've assessed my own damage and I've determined it's suitable.
Emotional damage. So what? Anything interesting in Pepe space right now?
Yeah, I just finished my goat, the Rare Goats project, and I'm putting the finishing touches on this thing called the Ides of March, which is going to be like how async was, but for ordinals. So like generative music.
Oh, generative music.
So it's I don't mind spoiling it a little bit. It's me, Money B from Digital Underground, Razkaz, Numbskull from the Loonies. I got 5 on it, that song, those guys. A guy called Homeboy Sandman, he's a good artist, he's a friend of mine. And the guy who started Bitmap, funny enough. And all rapping. And there's Skrilla and his partner and DJ Boomman and Trash Lights and a bunch of producers. And you only get 3 verses, but there's a bunch of different beats and they all sync up. And different artwork.
Wait, so each one's going to be like its own inscription and then you can mix them together, kind of parent-child style or what?
Yep. Yep. And the artwork's going to be different for some of them. And then there's a MIDI component. So if you have a MIDI player, great, it'll just sync to that and then you can play it on pads. But like most people, if you don't have a MIDI player, it'll turn your phone or like your computer into a MIDI player with like digital pads. And you can play it out and sample it and speed it up and slow it down and do whatever you want.
Wow. So each one's almost like a stem. You're inscribing each ordinal as like a stem. Is that right from a musical standpoint, or do I have the terminology wrong? Or is it just a little sample?
No, you're there. You're there.
Okay. Wow.
And the logic behind it was, and that was the whole point with Bitcoin Audio, and that would have launched, back in January, February, but the whole fork and everything kind of threw it off and slowed it down. But digital music never really lived up to its promise. And I say that in a more real way than I normally say shit, right? So if you bought a vinyl record or a cassette or a CD, it was what it was. It is what it is. You can play, rewind, skip a song, but what it is what it is. You don't really have much say-so in the matter. Digital music doesn't have to be one thing, and then it really just copied the old formats. So why not throw in a little bit of personalization, customization, let people fuck with it? So
Bro,
that's what we're doing.
I love that. What did I see the other day? Oh, it was a who was it? So there was a producer and he was just using AI to basically layer on like vocals on an old track he had been working on, a decade ago or something. And you just have this AI ability to like layer on stuff and add stuff, and this kind of remixing of music, I think, is from an AI perspective or a musician's perspective is about to get really, really interesting. The hard part about it, right? And this is where we get into like, what's crypto good for is like, well, how's it going to be? How are people going to get paid? Right. And, I don't know. Nobody's figured that out yet other than kind of you and what artists are kind of leaning into, which is like NFT culture where you're selling NFTs against it. Do you feel like there's really any opportunity here for like, do you think you think a decade out, do you think we're going to get to some sort of thing where if I create a piece of something, it could be music, and then people remix and sample, I'm going to get some sort of pass through of either tokenization or payment or something? Do you feel like that's going to happen, or does your gut tell you that's never really going to happen?
I can't speak for other mediums because, I'm just a fucking dumb rapper, but for music, I can say you don't really need it.
Yeah.
The person that convinced you needed that was the same person that convinced you that you can own the sound a snare drum makes.
Right.
That's also the same person that told you .00.
Yeah, I know, man.
Yeah, but .0033 cents a stream on Spotify is a fair exchange for your labor. Same guy told you that shit too. We should reevaluate everything he said and start again. And if you were okay, you wouldn't be upset. It's a difference, and I'm not like reading The Secret and no hippy dippy crystal shit, but I do think that if you live kind of abundantly mentally, especially artistically, you're at a Thanksgiving table, you're full, you've had everything, you're good. Someone says, hey, pass the fucking pie. You're not, hey man, how many slices have you had? You're not gonna think that way.
Yeah.
But if you're on a boat when the food runs out, a guy with 2 cans of corned beef is hoarding, and we gotta throw him off the side. So musically and artistically, you want every little nickel because they're not paying you shit.
Yeah.
But as a crypto artist, I've done better than I ever had, and I'm cool with it. So that's why I don't gate listening. Anyone who wants to go listen to Dust can listen to it for free. I don't fucking care. I don't get paid for streams, so who gives a shit?
So I have an answer for that. It's actually gonna happen pretty soon. I don't know if you guys heard of Story Protocol.
I have actually. I talked with those guys. I can't remember some convo or some convention. I love their idea, but it's like this idea that it's so big that I just don't know if it can happen. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, go ahead. Give a kind of TLDR on what it is.
Yeah. So I'm seeing what's happening here. I put it on top. There's things like I love things like IP assets because we have to value money in different ways, right? It's not just dollar this, dollar that, right? It's not just currency, right? But how can our IPs itself be an asset to get us in places? And so I just love the idea of what's happening there because now you're able to remix your work on top of others, and it basically traces that back, and you're able to get royalties from the remix.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about because I mean, this is the idea when I actually worked for an NFT music company. I don't know, in 2020, 2021, and this was our big idea. Was like this: how do we do this? But it's so fucking hard, and you've got to get all these people to adopt it, right? You've literally got to get the world to adopt this, like, I guess you'd call it a IP layer, right? Where, okay, I make a TikTok, it gets added to this IP layer, and then people can mix it, remix it, cut it up, use any portion of it, and somehow it then gets, their stuff just gets added onto the layer, but my stuff's connected to their stuff, and it's all this thing. Go ahead, Kane. I don't know if you've seen that one before, but this is exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't. I'm curious, and I have a follow-up question for the answer. How does it work?
Yeah. So basically, I'll give the smooth brain answer, and maybe you guys can expand on it. But basically, what you have is like, let's just call it a blockchain that all digital media gets laid on top of. So when you release a song or whatever, or even a stem, it all gets put on there, right? So imagine every piece of digital content ever created gets layered on. And so every day, terabytes of data are getting layered on. And somehow this like AI or whatever is going to figure out that, okay, here's my stuff. So I did a funny cat video. It then gets remixed by a million people and shared on all the TikToks in the world, and it gets blown up or whatever. And any sort of revenue or stream or whatever kind of tokenomically trickles down to me, right? That's my rough, smooth brain idea of it. And, you can imagine it like this would be an amazing system. They're trying to build it out. Do I think it's going to work? I give it a 0.00001 chance of it working because there are just so many bag holders who are like, don't want it to work, right? There's just, it just seems like they're up against a tidal wave of it not working. But that's the rough idea. I don't know about the implementation.
I can see the use case for like sampling and people want to track their samples, which fuck them. So here's my follow-up question. So you have your thing on this preventative musical chastity belt, and I decide to take your thing and sample it and just mint it myself without your protocol.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about it?
No, this is more like, in theory, it's supposed to be like this seamless interface where you just do it. Everything you put out gets automatically included, right? So it's not like you have to mint or you're kind of, claiming IP rights or whatever. You're just making stuff, right? So in the same way that, like, okay, let's take a current example, the Hawk 2 girl or whatever, right? That video was put out, right? Because she was in it or whatever, it would automatically know that, okay, she's part of it too, right? So what part of it is she? And it would kind of like everything would just be done either by AI or by some like learning algo behind the scenes, that you don't have to like mint something. It's not like you're an artist, you mint something. You think about it like, no, every person today on earth, basically, except my mom, is a digital creator. Like, we're creating digital content right now, right? So everybody on this space, in theory, shares in this creative process, right? Me and Chris might be like 60% or 70%, but Kane's here and Smoke's here, and like everybody's kind of a part of it. So you'd all just like, somehow magically this would all get like figured out by like an AI algo or something like that, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, or am I just rambling?
I see I certainly, it makes sense, and I certainly see the lack of probability for something like that.
Yeah, it feels like we might be 20 years too early for this, right? I mean, look, this idea has been around since at least like 2013, 2012, maybe, like ownership of digital items and stuff. But how it would all kind of magically work together. It's really interesting. Like, I mean, look, the reality is most people in the world don't even think you could own digital items, right? It's like the value of digital items is zero, right? For most of the world. And I think, as a music creator, like we're trying to even overcome that music has any value, right? It's like, I mean, we've been conditioned to feel that it should be free, right? So I don't know, man.
Well,
yeah.
That's the reason why I'm still alive, right? As far as not, breathing air, but as far as still a functioning contributor to whatever the fuck it is that I do, is that I don't attack it the way tradition would caution me to. I literally have to do what is for most people counterintuitive, and that is you don't own it. Stop, and also stop talking to them. A lot of people think, and you're right, music should be free. According to a large swath of people, they think music should be free on Spotify, and they don't even pay for Spotify. It comes for free with their Hulu or their car insurance or whatever the fuck. So they think that it should be free. And my advice is that I don't speak to them. It's like a buddy of mine, he's a radio DJ, and he gets very frustrated with me because I don't send him my music as much as I did before. And he's like, "Oh, you got an album, you don't send me your music." I'm like, "For fucking what? I got 30,000 people who listen to my stupid show." And I'm like, who? They got wallets? You're inviting me to a party, and you're saying there's a lot of women there, but those women have long, thick penises. And I mean, for you, they're women. But for me, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in those kind of gals.
Yo, is that a Diddy party?
Honestly, it might be, but and much respect to them, and I hope you're having fun. It sounds consensual, for the love of God. But for me, I like my listeners to be the kind that have crypto and wallets and understand what digital assets are.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I have zero interest. But Cordy sounded a little more bullish on it. So Cordy, if you don't mind me asking, what would be in it for me for this brave new world?
Yeah. So just to understand how Story Protocol works, I use something called ERC 6551. So that's how you could understand the basic layers of Story Protocol at first. And then how I can make it work is I actually have my page right here, handle, as a speaker. So the thing is now what I'm trying to do is see how I can empower artists and creatives in that sense where Story protocol alone won't work on its own. What does work is in how can I apply handle to story protocol, because we use the same tech as story protocol. We also use ERC-651, but we did it on Bitcoin EVM. So now I'm thinking like, hey, I want to connect flow for gasless transactions. I want to connect handle with Bitcoin. I want to add story protocol to these handle profiles. And these handle profiles are like ENS, but they're using the same tech as story protocol, as in they allow you to own NFTs. So now if you think about how it's going to make sense as an artist, it's like, boom, I have a profile. I can attach my assets anywhere I want to, and I can log into any app, and everywhere I go, or every place, every app or every site I go to will know that this is my work, and it comes back to me. And that's how I see it working, as in like story protocol is going to need like a way to attach profiles where you won't need to know about the tech, but the tech will just be used with the profiles.
That sounds an awful lot like centralization.
Yeah. Well, that's what I would, my pushback there would be, yeah, basically they're trying to get you to use their protocol. And it's like, as a creator, if you're going to put in the time like Kane does, I know he does, better just mint your own shit. You know, if you're going to put in the effort, just mint it on your own stuff and then talk directly to your own people.
Well, and I see the guy has his hand up, but I just want to say one quick thing, and I just want to add this one point. I'll shut the hell up. And there's what you just said in spades, but then there's this other thing of, for me, why here, this place that we're all fucking around in is really important to me, is because let's just say this wicked machination becomes reality. And all of a sudden, the people who run this protocol find out that my views on Ukraine or dudes kissing or, whatever, my last tweet just doesn't seem to jive with their understanding of how the world should work. And they kick me out of Eden. Am I now? And do I have to live as a cyber homeless? Like, what would happen to me?
Wait, so explain to me how it's centralized. Do you mean by story protocol centralized, or what do you mean by centralized? Yeah, for them, they're building this stuff on a blockchain. At first it was a protocol alone, and then they created their own L1 now. That part kind of confused me with the L1, because that makes things difficult for me, because I wanted to use the protocol to attach to my names, as in like if you're an artist, you just make a name and you have your community with that name attached as a sub handle, and that's it. And then they could own your IP, all that. But then now it's like, okay, now there's their own blockchain. That does make things complicated in that sense.
And yeah, then it starts going down rabbit holes of like, okay, well, how much of the pre-mine are they owning, right? They own this part of the blockchain. It's just, it can get real sticky real fast. It's one of these challenges. I'll just have a fun before I get to our cube. Like it just seems like we're probably too early to anything like this. I mean, I appreciate their effort, and certainly that guy, it was one of the best talks I'd heard, where only because like I'd been working on that idea. I worked on it for years and realized that it's almost impossible to align incentives here. But yeah, I appreciate their effort. Arcube, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, doing all right, man. How you doing?
Great, bro. What's up?
Awesome. Hey, I just wanted to add that I think there's a lot of good points being made here. And one of the points that just really sticks out to me is the idea that, we are crypto native folks, right? Like we live and breathe and maybe sometimes have nightmares about crypto all the time. In order for a lot of this technology to be fully adopted, we need retail. And retail's not going to care about the latest NFT drop necessarily, right? They're not really going to care about what's the next token being launched. They're just going to care, am I getting the music that I purchased? And can I share it with my friends? Do I have the right to share it with my friends? So ultimately, I think we'll get to that nirvana. And like you said, Adam, we're really early, but the technology just needs to become completely transparent to the end user. They should never have to be concerned about what is the blockchain, what is the token. And I think that's when we start getting adoption, like enterprise adoption of blockchain technology, decentralized applications, things of that nature, we'll get the adoption that we're looking for, but we'll probably be like really old at that point, right? And it will definitely be transparent to the end user. So I think that's one of the like the big shifts that we need to make as an industry is how do we make this easier for end users? How do we make it more easier to understand without the complexity that we all live and breathe every day, and that is in crypto.
Yeah, I love that. It makes me think of like it's similar to gaming, in that when we talk about music or artistic endeavors, and I think of the best apps are TikTok, right? TikTok struggles with how do they pay creators, right? And so it's like they do creator programs and all this mess, right? You would think, well, just everybody who uses the app, you could have some sort of like blockchain layer, and everybody just kind of all the ad revenue, they get a certain percentage and it funnels down. But to Kane's point, it's this like trickle down. Why am I fighting for pennies when I can make dollars, right? Scenario. So I don't know. Kane, go ahead, man.
Yeah, that's again a very I've got a practiced answer for this particular one, only because that's the mass adoption spiel. I'll say spiel for the sake of politeness. And the issue that I've always had with that is the same issue that I had with that Tezos platform, one of, and a few bullshit music platforms that I've shot at publicly, and they know that I'm not fans of them. The reason is because their solution was always fiat payments and custodial wallets. And just to be very clear for anyone listening, I don't have a problem with fiat payments. I don't have a problem with custodial wallets. The problem I have is when I see them in a car together, they're usually being driven by a cash grab. And when I think about these protocols and what they're offering, I hear the pitch and I hear the shiny tinsel, but what I also know is that you got Bob from Peoria. Now, Bob from Peoria, probably 10 years older than me, got some grandkids. Pop really wants to be cool to the grandkids, and he buys this Whitney Houston NFT because, him and his wife danced to that shit at his wedding or whatever. And then Bob, because, he doesn't know crypto, he doesn't know the blockchain, he was onboarded, dummy way. Right. And he doesn't know that once he starts, being a part of this and starts hashtagging GM friends and wag me and puts a .eth at the end of his name, he just shot a flare gun in the air to every scammer, robber, flim-flam man, and rug puller from here to Nigeria, that he is in possession of untold quantities of magic, untraceable internet money. So they're going to social engineer Mr. Peoria. They're going to hack him very quickly, make short work of him, and they're going to take his fucking NFT. And then he's going to go back to the people who sold him this stupid shit and say, hey guys, I just lost this. What do you do? And they're going to say, buy another one. Now, an isolated incident, not a big deal, because fuck them. But ultimately, when you got 500,000 of him, you get a real bad taste in your mouth. And now we're all wearing the black eye for something that we warned you about.
Yeah. It's interesting, man. There is no easy solution to this, man. It's like we got, people are trying to push forward. What did I see the other day? Oh, the Penguin guys, they're launching their L2. And I read there, I don't know if you guys saw there, he put out a Medium article on like his view of what's next for blockchains. And this is like what we're talking about right here is like, this is a big idea. Like, but is it possible? Like, I do not know, man.
And why is everybody launching L2s? Have you noticed that? I don't get
no, L2s are where, well, I mean, in the Pudgy's case, it's the place where you can, to Kane's point, it's where you can extract a whole bunch more money or, make a whole bunch more money. Like there's no way the Penguins can do another drop, right? But they can launch an L2 with a 50% pre-mine or whatever and have a token and reward builders with the token and stuff. And then the token goes up in value and they own half the fucking token supply, right? So it's a fantastic way to, to monetize if you're building something. And I'm not saying it's a bad strategy. It's a great strategy. And but yeah, there's going to be so many L2s. Your hair is going to be on fire. I'm telling you, like you could launch you could have a L2 in a half hour right now with a couple grand if you wanted to. And in 5 years, bro, L2 is like, it's going to be put one button easy, bro. Every single person on stage might have 50 L2s. Like, I don't even know where it's going to go. Like each wallet you have is an L2. And I mean, dude, it's going to get insane, dude. It's going to get insane.
Yeah. Imagine what it looks like when we get regulatory framework in place, man.
God help us.
Yuck.
Oh my God.
Kane, you gonna launch an L2, bro? Why don't you launch an L2 for your projects, bro?
I feel like
I
it's-
have
don't know.
never launched a shitcoin, and while I'm a pretty doxed entity, like you can find my real name with a very cursory Google search. It's Chris. I'll save you the trouble. But I do respect the sanctity of those who choose to have an anon and keep it that way. And I think what I do in a place that they haven't figured out how to regulate is none of any government's business. And I was unfortunately onboarded by old school Bitcoiners and like ETH pirates and, real crypto renegade types that think like decentralization is a must and anonymity is a choice and like, it's crazy shit. So I believe all that stuff. And even though I don't need it for me, and I'm a lonely person with a lot of rooms, I don't mind if soldiers quarter in my house because I just could use the company and I got a lot of liquor. I do respect other people who don't want soldiers quartered in their house and don't want, Jamie Dimon thinking of magic ways to fuck them. So L2s were a uncreative person solution to gas fees. Gas fees don't stop a transaction. They don't. Gas fees stop stupid transactions. Unfortunately, people got heroin addicted to stupid transactions. And this is all just fruit of the poisonous tree. This is all from the free mint people.
Yep.
This is from free mint people who got tired of promising you a Lambo in their Discord. They got tired of making a Discord. They got tired of telling you you're going to buy a Lambo and promising you video games that ain't never coming. So they just said free mint. Now we're going to do it like multi-level marketing, and we're going to indoctrinate you into our Amway and promise you some CC0 bullshit, which the probability of that is a lot less than a shitcoin, frankly, because you're going to take my IP and through your own individual brilliance, figure out how to get rich with it. That's fucking nuts. But whatever. Let's never say the quiet parts out loud, guys. Come on, we'll all just live the dream.
Wait, you're telling me my PFP doesn't have value because the IP I can build a coffee brand around this?
Of course it has value. When you look at it, do you value it? That's the value. Catch. There's no catch. When the mailman brings it, just catch it before it hits the ground. That's the catch, baby. There's no catch here. It's all great. I sold timeshare. I'm a terrible guy, so I don't look down on these people. I just think that when we're just talking amongst ourselves, a little bit of the nonsense we can peel back. Like, okay, great. We want more dumb people for exit liquidity. Cool. But when we use a large bunch of dumb new people for exit liquidity, they leave with a bad story to tell. So if we're not preparing for that, we're not preparing for exit liquidity.
Yeah, and honestly, there's a point where of the space, and I'm looking at other solutions for money overall, because I don't know who's familiar with things it's called mutual credit currency. I don't know who's familiar with that concept.
Never heard of it. What is it?
Oh man. So the idea of a mutual credit currency is that with mutual credit, short for MCC, right? Is, originally we're supposed to just barter. Like, hey, you have something, I have something. That's it. You have sticks, I have stones, that's exchange. That's it. And then we added all the BS like debt to everything, right? And make things into a Ponzi, right? So now it's like, how do we use things like mutual credit currencies to create proper exchange of value, as in the money we have today is not really the priority, as in it's what you have that I want I want to exchange. So it goes beyond thinking about money as just dollars, because that itself is not even a store of value. You can't store dollars. It's not for that. It's just for spending. It's a medium of exchange. So now there's things I'm looking at, which is it's beyond blockchain. It's called holochain. And it's actually working alongside blockchain. Very interesting. As in, they're creating other ways of money where you could have money on cloudless applications that exchange as in just regular bartering system with no debt, but just credit. So I see us getting into that realm too, when it comes to currencies, because
I thought we had solved hard money already. Has Bitcoin lost the plot so badly?
No,
we're doing we're going back to the barter system. God damn it!
For me, it's like
Satoshi fixed this, man. What the fuck?
For me, I think that just Bitcoin, it works, but we still need an everyday spending solution, right? And Bitcoin is not everyday spending.
No,
we can't spend.
Bitcoin's completely lost the plot for peer-to-peer digital cash, no doubt about that. I think one thing that Like I understand that idea. Like, hey, why do we have to create Ponzi's? Why do we continually do this? But part of me realizes that this is actually human nature at its core, is that, you know, humans have some genetic thing in us that is inherently risk taking, because obviously you get rewarded if you take big risks and whatever. I don't know. Back in the fucking jungle days, I take a big risk and go try to kill a water buffalo. Maybe I die, but maybe I'm the fucking king of the, you know, my tribe because I actually killed the motherfucker, right? I don't know. So there's something inherently in us. I mean, dude, all you have to do is look in gambling. Like, dude, gambling space, it's literally dominates the world, right? It's like everybody gambles, right? So I don't know, man. I understand the idea of it and the desire, but we're in this crypto space where I don't think you can avoid gambling. It's just the space is littered with it, man.
Of course, that's the thing about life. It's like you have to learn to be open, because gambling is going to exist, right? So that's my idea. It's not like, oh, never, just take that away. It's just like, it's just improving other, like bringing other things along.
I mean,
the way.
I'm with you. Like, how do we get? And I actually think it's a lot of what we're playing around with in meme coins and stuff like this, is this idea of like, well, what's fair? Like, what's a fair token launch, or is there such a thing? It's a spectrum. How do we get closer to fair? How do we get closer to like, you know, tokenomics that are whatever? I don't even know. We're working towards this. That's why when like I talk about, you know, an L2 or any of these things, it's like, well, what are the tokenomics? Does it have you know, how much does the team make? Or like all these sort of things we inherently know are, you know, skewed and unfair, right? And so is there a way to have like money, true money, hard money, that doesn't have these kind of built-in things that are bad about it? I don't know. Kane, go ahead, man.
Well, the answer to the question is like why we don't have that. Sorry, everything my son has plays fucking music for some reason. The answer to why don't we have these things is because people want the ocean, but they don't want to drown. They want a drownless ocean, and they also don't want fucking fish touching them. But they want the ocean, but they don't want animals, and they also don't want anything bad to have ever happened. They want this protective layer that shields them from their own ignorance. In a free market where you're operating off of, I got apples, you got oranges, let's trade. Well, you know, I don't mind. I really want apples, but what's a fair? I need someone to tell me what the fair market value of the current day, and they don't want to do the research. Things like Emblem Vault help with that. If you don't mind me throwing a little fucking hot stone massage to these boys, things like Emblem Vault help with that. But ultimately, the reason why there'll always be monkeys in the middle is because people want protections and they want assurances that just don't exist in nature. So in order for someone to provide that for you, what they're going to do is they're going to charge you a little bit of do-re-mi, get a little skin in the game, so they can benefit for doing all that work for you. And it's the same thing with that buffalo analogy. If I go out and hunt a buffalo and kill it, and you grew some fucking corn, I mean, there's lots of corn. Lots of people can grow corn. You want some buffalo meat? I want more corn than because it's you ever kill a buffalo? It's fucking difficult, bro. So this is a lot. People value their own efforts, and it shouldn't. Unfortunately, in the world, you know, the Web 2 world, it's easy to call it that. A lot of things are decided for you. Everything's made up for you. Prices are rigged and it's unfair. And that, to my understanding, was the reason for all this. It's why we're here, supposedly. But you can make a lot of money in arbitrage here, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, but just it's an aside. You can make a lot of money in arbitrage here. And there's always this, you know, when all the people get here, how do I become a man in the middle? Instead of just, there's enough people here right now, and I'll just take art, music, whatever. There's enough people in crypto for any one particular or 10 or 100 particular artists to find their tribe and live great. 500 collectors is a lot, even if they only show up 20% of the time. But people don't want that. They want to charge 50 cents or 2 cents or half a cent and have billions of people. And that's just, in the current iteration of all this, that's still the freest, at least from where everyone wants to go, it sounds like. This is the best possible solution. The reason I like crypto music better is because I don't need 1 million people scale isn't always good. Scale and a lot of times is bad. If you be a great restaurant, they turn into a chain, the food's going to probably go to shit. So I like this as a nice, fun bistro that isn't for everybody. And maybe that's a little bit gatekeeperish or a small worldview, but it certainly doesn't hurt anybody.
Oh, it's literally the you know, it's the 1,000 raving fans taken to its logical conclusion here in crypto, which is, you know, from an artist perspective, this is it. It's fantastic, right? And yeah, we've become skewed that, you know, to be successful, you need a million people in the artistic realm, and it's not true. It's funny enough, it wasn't true in the traditional art sense. When I've interviewed artists, I'm trying to remember, it was Sarah Mahoyas, who's like, you know, relatively famous in, you know, crypto art, but in traditional art as well. And when I talked to her, she was like, you know, I was like, so how many, you know, collectors do you need? And she's like, I always felt like I needed 5. And it was true. I was like, 5? What the fuck? You know, she's like, yeah, you need 5, because 5 who will buy your stuff and talk about you. And if they're the right 5, you can make it in traditional art. And yeah, that blew my mind. And crypto is you know, very much that way as well. So very, very cool. Great convo, guys. I appreciate everybody for joining.
Adam, before we wrap,
yeah,
what do you think about Ether Vista, Ethereum's finally pump fund competitor? What do you think is going on over there? Maybe we'll talk about some ordinals after that. But why did it take them so long to kind of put a product out with all the millions of dollars that are kind of riding on that business model? That's clearly the app of the year. Why did it take Ethereum so long to launch its competitor? Do people care? What's the deal with it over there?
Oh, I haven't even heard of it. There we go.
Well, yeah, it's Ether Vista. It's the pump.fund for Ethereum.
Wow.
I think pretty much came out this past week. So
what's the address? I want to look it up right now. What is it?
It should just be Ether Vista. Check out Twitter real quick.
Is it .io or .com? No, not .io, not .io. We should buy that. Smokes can go buy that. Ether Vista.
There's this ethervista.app.
Oh, Ether Vista.
Yeah, .app. But just kind of interesting that was the app of the year. There's no question about it. Yep. Ethereum clearly had no usage, but it took them almost an entire calendar year to kind of build out a top-notch product or even get something to market. I thought that was kind of interesting. You know, there's these honeypots of cash for whoever can kind of innovate and push these things to market. And even that kind of development seems slow. Like what consensus is over here is saying we need more users, but they're not sponsoring the builders that are going to build these things. And they've been doing that for years and they have nothing to show for it. I don't even know how that's even materially possible. What are your thoughts?
I think at the end of the day, we talk about this a lot too. Like building a killer app is so difficult. And what those pump.fund guys did, you know, they all look at, you know, and there have been multiple on Solana that have tried to copy it and stuff. Basically doing the exact same thing, which is, you know, it's fine, but none have really gained traction. But what they were able to do is just really hard. Like even when it comes down to, you know, how big the liquidity pool needs to be. You know, most people don't even know that they fiddled around with that total for like 3 months before it finally hit at like whatever 69,000 or whatever, you know, it is now. But even that, people are still like, well, why didn't they do 40 or why isn't it more and make it more fair? And it's like, no, they fucked around to figure out like what was the right amount, you know, to launch 10,000 tokens a day or 20,000 tokens a day. Right. And I just realized how hard that is, not only from their particular like business sliver, like getting this right, but then having, you know, these really awesome wallets, which I can use on my phone and, you know, buy and sell the meme coins on my phone. Like that's right. Radium's right. Like it all had to come together and just, yeah, I just look at it as like good on them, man. Cause it's just really fucking hard. And the odds that this one works on fucking Ethereum, 0.0. Like it's just,
but it's good to see finally. I mean, you know, there's nothing to do on the blockchain. Give the people something to do on the blockchain seems kind of pretty easy. But yeah, let's check it out. Kane, what's going on, man?
Well, you know, I always say there's plenty to do. It's just what kind of fun you want to have.
There's
And,
not much to do. There's some things to do, but not a ton of interesting things.
well, are we selling malt liquor or green juice? And that's the first question. So Pump.Fun is definitely malt liquor. And what you're looking for is you got a store, and you know, we were all in high school at one point or another. The store that you know will sell you malt liquor or beer is usually one store. Now there's maybe, why don't other stores break the rules and sell liquor to kids? Well, even if you did, we're comfortable going to this guy, you know, I know he's not going to tell my parents, like, this is a deviant thing I'm doing. I don't really want to spread my degeneracy too far. You'll find people concentrate when it comes to their filth. Most people use the same 2 or 3 porn sites. They're not going to go hog wild trying.
How do you know that?
Because I do market research. I'm a real pornographer, but the people aren't going to go. The Pump.Fun was a moment in time. It's kind of like trying to recapture PFP energy.
Totally.
And they've tried a couple times, but you're not going to get back the 80s crack game. There's no way to put that lightning back into the bottle. It's out, and enough people have experienced what it is. Also, Pump.Fun did a thing first, and then I know first is always, you know, you love it or you hate it, but there's a certain power in the first time you try something. A lot of people just figured out that they're not really degenerates, that they're just financially irresponsible and bad at guessing. So most of them will probably never do this again outside of that. And the ones that are hardcore gamblers they'll try it, but if you're not offering a tangible benefit that is way better. Also, they capitalized on Solana, and Solana just has a culture for that shit. ETH don't. ETH still has people who think that ETH should be like government money, and they're happy that banks own it and shit. Like, you can't have yay ETF and also let's fucking rug and dump on whoever's head is dumb enough to buy this. Those two people don't live on the same street.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I think that Ethereum was the degen chain before Solana was, and all the nefarious stuff that went on Solana went on ETH beforehand. And I think that if we zoom out to the maximum, what people really want, and we've been in this industry for a long time, is people just want to launch tokens. And that's what Pump.Fun is. And that's kind of like one of the big breakthrough technologies of blockchains is people want to launch tokens. And you used to need to hire a whole development team to launch tokens. And even though people have kind of different use cases for these things, and most of them is the use case of just going straight to zero, I think giving people the power to launch tokens with minimal friction is a massive use case. And I can't believe that that's just now beginning to exist on every chain. Yeah. Dude, so I think that we think of it as like a degen tool, but I think it'll be much more of that in the future, giving everyone that power.
Certainly true. It's certainly true, but it's also true through a lens of who's asking. Yeah, ETH was a degen chain if you're asking like Bitcoiners who never take their school clothes off. But ETH wasn't a degen chain compared to fucking Binance. ETH was a prude who made you only kiss and a little bit of under the bra action. Binance was butt naked on the table like a fucking Blacktail magazine. Binance was a fucking scammer chain. And now you got Binance people like, fuck all that. We can get crazy over here. So they're over here doing 2019 tricks and they're working. It's going crazy. So I think there's a little bit of it's a skewed question of, yeah, it's the degen chain compared to who, but I don't think that it's the degen chain. ETH ain't cum rocket. Like there's a certain level of professionalism to Ethereum. It's a virtual machine after all.
Cum rocket is pretty top notch. That is a tough one to.
That is funny.
I love you too, pal.
And it's true. The Binance. Last cycle with the meme coins on Binance. You think about it now, how clunky that experience was. And how shitty. It's amazing it got traction last cycle, but Pump just took that to literally a whole nother level. And I think to your point, Chris, you're absolutely right. This ability to democratize launching meme coins was a big thing. And it's amazing. I've been on spaces and like we're in crypto. So I'm like, I still believe like everybody's like this free market guy. Like, no, I was like, people are literally like, we need to stop this. We can't have anybody just launching a meme token. You should have like a team. It should be like, I was like, bro, what are you like? I got to pass a test to launch a meme token. Like the whole idea of this is like you democratize it and the market will get smarter. And you have what you have now, which is like most of us have learned our lesson. You don't buy shit on Pump.Fun. Like, no fucking way. Like you got to be out of your mind to fucking buy shit on Pump.Fun, right? But I learned that like three months ago. Like I realized there was the juice was out of that fucking lemon a long time ago, right? But some people, I guess, don't learn whatever. But then they run out of money, bro. They're like like there is a market correction. The market will take care of those people. Like people who are that stupid will lose all their money, and that's the beauty of the fucking free market. And so, yeah, to your point, I think it is, in the same way we had the same thing happen with NFTs where, early 2021, it was actually, you had to actually have some skills. Like you had to have a developer and whatever. And even into kind of the middle of 2021, same deal, but by the end of 2021, like anybody could have launched it. Right. And so the market fucking figured it out and everything went to zero. Right. So anyway, we're learning, bro. I don't know.
That's it.
I don't know if we still learn. I think like
we learning. I didn't say learn. Learning. Continuum. It's a continuum, bro.
It's a never-ending process.
I feel like we always go to some L's, but in different ways, right? It's like every cycle, something else happens.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, for me, this is actually a good thing. Like this is the way crypto is self-correcting. And yes, millions of dollars lost, but that's good. Like, doesn't matter because it's actually like this is the self-correcting mechanism over time.
Yes, and that's the best education right there.
100%. You got anything else, Chris? That was a good point, man.
That's it, man. Maybe just the market's pretty wacky, huh? What do you think going into the end of the year? Any things that you're checking in? I do have to give Adam props. He was literally on Pump Fun like week one. Like week one, he was like, check this out. I was like, oh shit. Obviously crushing it with bells. Adam's really slaying it so far. So props to you, man.
There's
what else are you kind of keeping your eye on?
It's only mistakes, bro. It's only mistakes. Yeah, it's really, I think crypto is in this incredible position where it could literally, we could go either way right now. I mean, the global financial crisis, whatever you want to call it, is so rickety right now. I mean, it is like fucking on on the most precarious of positions, which is a bit terrifying. Where it could go, like literally, the entire market could dump. We could just have massive dumpage, and it could just literally Bitcoin back to 25,000. Like that type of shit could happen. Terrifying. Or, we get like Trump gets elected, and it's literally Bitcoin 175,000. Right? It could go either way. My hope is that Trump gets elected, new administration, crypto's cool again. To the moon. Like I pray that happens, but it could definitely go the other way. That's what I think. So
I mean,
bets.
Kind of interesting how pro crypto he really is turning out to be.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you want to price in, whatever percentage that he gets back in office. I mean, the president is literally launching a lending protocol, like a lending fork. That is like
that happening. I don't know when that's actually like.
I'm not sure the timeline on it, but I mean, it's just a fork, I believe, of Aave. So I don't see how the development time can be too crazy. But I would recommend he probably waits on that. I don't know why he wants to do it now. That sounds terrible. But just even having someone, even though he's not interested in the industry, once you poke around in crypto, that's kind of like you're sealing the deal, right? You're saying there's something interesting here. Yeah. People from his cabinet would be poking around, things like that. So, I mean, whatever you think about the guy, we always encourage people to poke around and experiment and kind of, see what the industry is all about. So definitely applaud that. But really interesting.
I'm surprised it was a lending protocol or whatever, though.
I mean, that's like, if I was working on Emblem, I would be working on a lending protocol. Whoever unlocks like the primary lending kind of markets, capital markets for the digital world, that's like a mega billion-dollar industry, like insane, right? If you build a town, the first things that you're going to try to build are kind of like financial infrastructure, banking, lending, borrowing, and that kind of thing, and the fees on it, plus the instant settlement with no kind of counterparty risk of, you know, assets being delivered if you're lending against them as a borrower or borrowing as a lender. Just really incredible. So you really take care of some of the biggest issues within legacy banking by just going digital. So that's a huge market.
See, I would have thought, I mean, my guess was a stable coin. That was my guess. Maybe they decided, oh, well, stables are maybe too hard to do. Maybe they were scared about the regulations as well there. But stablecoin's the greatest business like ever invented. So I was kind of surprised they didn't do, you know, Trump coin or whatever, because that would have been like, you know, tied it to a US dollar and it's like, you know, or whatever, freedom dollars, whatever you could have branded it. I thought there would have been real like potential traction there, but I could understand that might have been maybe a technical challenge that, although it doesn't seem like it, bro. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Right. Digital dollars have been kind of going for so long, but yeah, I mean, they finally had their breakout use case. It's truly incredible to see how many people are moving dollars on chain. I mean, that's clearly the #1 use case for blockchains today, undisputably. So,
I mean, dude, if there's one business where you could wave a magic wand and own that business, it'd be fucking Tether is like the greatest.
For sure. I think that's probably the biggest reason why everything is so institutional at this point. They're seeing what's going on with Tether and they're saying, what is going on in that industry?
Yeah,
I need to get involved.
Coin, like, or JP Morgan stablecoin. Like, this is absolutely, dude. Yeah. Like, yeah, the regulations will bend to Wall Street, who wants a piece of this fucking sweet, you know, stablecoin action, man. I mean, it's literally the greatest business of all time. Literally, you just take money in, you put that money in US treasuries, and you earn 5% a year on basically your whole goal is just how much money can we get in this system.
We may want to just kind of rebrand to a stablecoin industry, and crypto is like the sideshow. Like, we do stablecoins, but crypto is also here. It's more of a sideshow. No one really believes in that, but that's what we're doing. We're a stablecoin industry.
Like, we let Kane sell his NFTs. Like, that's cool. That's cool. But what we are is we're a stablecoin, man.
Exactly.
What side of your bread got butter on it?
Bro, I mean, we love the NFTs, but we all know the stable coins, bro. I mean, if you guys don't know, like, I think Tether's business model, it was like they earn like it's something like $25 million in profit per employee in Tether, or some crazy number. It's impossible.
I think it's more than that. I think they have like less than 50 employees, and I think they're doing a couple billion in profit per quarter. So they're like really going.
It's literally like it is the most successful business profit wise of any business in the history of the world. So yeah, I think Wall Street wants a piece of that. But anyway, we'll wrap it up here, guys. Look up top. If you look in the nest, I pinned up top tomorrow's spaces. We're going to be chatting wrapped Bitcoin, DLC, BTC. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but wrapped Bitcoin. I'm sure there's a nice vig in there for wrapped Bitcoin, man. I don't know if that's the future, man. Similar to stable coins. But anyway, we do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Already got a pretty full schedule for next week as well. But appreciate you all for joining, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Great show, guys. We'll talk tomorrow. Take it easy, everyone.
Hi, guys.